Hi, welcome to the Global Voices Spotlight Series. My name is Dani Vincent. I'm a third-year student studying Environmental Studies and Sustainability. I also work in the SLE, which is Student Life and Engagement Sustainability Department. And today we have a guest. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Of course. Hello, my name is Antoinette Tessmer. I'm an associate professor, fixed term, with the Department of Finance in the College of Business.
Well, thank you for being here today in this wonderful weather that we don't get very often. But to kind of get started, would you mind describing finance to a student, hypothetically, who might not already be familiar with the topic of finance?
I'm going to talk about finance and accounting because I think that you may be a little bit more familiar with accounting. The accountant records financial transactions and record those transactions following many rules that apply to the accounting system in the United States. In finance, we also work with financial transactions. Both are dealing with money. But in finance, we tend to look towards the future and we try to forecast what the future transactions may be. And I like to tell my students that finance is the art of guessing.
Now, something that you mentioned about finances is that it's more of a long-term investment. It's this idea that you're looking more into the future. And now something that I've recently learned about is the idea of sustainable investments. But to kind of go back before we talk about that, I want to talk about an article that I'd read not too long ago. And that article covered the topic that as a student looking for a job, looking for a career path in a new field, what is it like and how would you suggest that students are able to keep their passion, say, for sustainability and incorporate that into their discoveries of finding a path in finance? And for a student looking into that, what would you recommend they really look into when it comes to finance specifically?
I would say first that it's no matter what degree you graduate with. So it could be finance, could be computer science, could be packaging, could be environmental sciences. It really doesn't make a difference, in my opinion. You have a chance as a young graduate to make a difference. And what I mean by that is companies are looking for talents, right? And if you are the talented young lady that they would like to hire, you have a role to play in the process, in the sense that I suggest that you don't translate your decision or you don't make your decision to join a company only based on money or location or practical matters. But you add to your decision the environment you are going to join.
Something I did take away from it as well is this idea that maybe it's not necessarily just the corporation that you're working for or the company that you're looking at, but the community aspect. Are there employees that currently work there that are also interested in the same things that you were looking out for, and that can probably help a lot of students have a better idea of what they're looking for besides maybe creating their own path within that entity, within that corporate building, and create a community that can help create a more sustainable foundation and make a path for the future.
The world of finance for many freshmen in business is that idea of Wall Street, wealth, quick wealth, and work hard, get rich, and retire. And it is definitely the case that Wall Street is underrepresented in the sense that it's majority of white males who really participate in Wall Street. So every female student that I have a chance to mentor or teach or meet in the College of Business is a one student at a time that allows us to prepare for Wall Street maybe. And that student has to understand that she will have to fight. But if many of those female students join Wall Street, you need just one generation to change the environment on Wall Street. It's not a lost cause. Wall Street can be changed by the newer generation, the younger generation. So again, it's a chance for those underrepresented students, minorities on Wall Street, to learn well about the job that they will make a decide whether they are made for it, and then go for it and make a difference.
So something that we had discussed not too long ago is about your experience in study abroad. Would you mind telling me a little bit about your opportunity there?
Yes, of course. So I was myself an exchange student way back when I was a little bit younger. And the experience studying abroad was so transformative for me that I decided that a few years past that experience that it was time for me to pay it forward. So the way I understand to pay it forward works this way. When someone really helps you grow, then it's my responsibility to turn around and allow someone else to grow. So my way to pay it forward is actually by starting a faculty-led education abroad program to Belgium. It's where I'm from. And every summer I take about 20 MSU students, business students, and I take them with me to Belgium for 4 weeks during the summer. And I do my best to create an environment where they become part of a small town, French-speaking small town. And so the language barrier is part of the experience. And we take part to a service project, for example, when we are over there. All those opportunities are set in place so that they are not tourists for 4 weeks. They are maybe tourists for 3 days, and then they become part of the community for the rest of the time they are there.
Is this study abroad opportunity, does that correlate with your knowledge in finances?
That is correct. So it is, the topic that we study over there is global finance. So it opens the learning part opens the finance studies to Europe, which is ideal in Brussels because Brussels is the capital of Europe, and then we go to Frankfurt to visit the European Central Bank, and then we go to Luxembourg to visit the European Investment Bank.
That's amazing. Now they're a world traveler. It's a great door to open for a student who may not at the beginning feel like they can go abroad, or if that's even an option for them. So to be able to have the opportunity to take a study abroad like that. And so something that we'd already touched on, and that's independent finances. When you find that these students who are going on those study abroad trips and they have these questions about finances and currencies, do you find that their questions on independent finances are different than those students that you would have here on campus who don't go on the study abroad?
You're bringing up I would say an issue related to study abroad that is definitely, it's not equitable. So it is expensive to study abroad, and not every student, by far, not every student will ever think of being able to study abroad. And I'm very much aware of that. So one way I can contribute to or try to solve this issue is by independently organizing the whole trip by myself. And I can therefore keep the cost very low. So now another directions that I started a couple of years ago is to actually bring that international experience in the classroom. And I have experienced a teaching method that's called COIL, COIL, and that stands for Collaborative Online International Learning. And so the online gives you the idea of what it is, and collaborative means that it's a online collaboration between students in the classroom at MSU and students in the classroom in Japan, for example. And they collaborate on a topic that is of interest to both groups, and they collaborate to achieve a learning goal that has been, designed by the instructors. And during that collaboration that has to do with the topic they study in the classroom, they experience all the side effects of being online, talking with collaborators whose native language is not English, having to set up meetings when there is a 13-hour time difference between the groups, and maintain a collaboration when you are so far apart. All those soft knowledge are part of the experience, that I would say is as rich of an experience, quite different from a study abroad, but contributes to a growth that can be valued on your resume as well and in your future career as well. It is quite challenging, but it is a true international experience that is inexpensive, no money involved, no travel plan involved, language barrier, yes, and everything around communication with so many obstacles: time, technology, place, language, that the students have to rise to the challenge, and succeed.
Something that you had brought up is that you were able to incorporate what students were able to take from abroad and bring it back to campus, and you're able to just bring it into the classroom for those students that aren't able to go abroad. And so a question that I would have as a student is, does this provide job opportunities, say, in Japan or internationally? Does this create a connection in that sort of format, or is this strictly, say, learning?
It can create very strong connections because your generation is very much used to WhatsApp and all those social media that you use on your phone, and using your thumbs, we cannot do that. COIL, I believe that the same friendship, social relationships can be created as well, which in the future could lead to a mobility. So that COIL partner that you worked with 10 years ago is now the CEO of a financial institution in Japan, calling you, texting you, saying, by the way, I have a position here, maybe you would be interested. And you have it.
Well, you've surely convinced me that this is something I would love to be a part of. Something that I've noticed at times is that every student learns differently and every student approaches topics in a different way. And so it sounds like COIL is an opportunity to expand this ability to let students come in and ask for different support systems, and in an even more incredible way, all around the world. And so that's something that they might not be able to experience. And so it's something that I'm hoping to learn a little bit more about as a STEM student, but that I'm hoping that this conversation can be shared out with other students, and that they can take this away and maybe challenge their professors with the question of, what do you know about COIL, and how can I get involved?
So Dani, I explained to you that I take students to Belgium every summer, and there is one item in Belgium that all the students are so excited about, and when they come back they keep talking about it. And I brought one example of those with me, and this is a Belgian chocolate that comes straight from Belgium, and I would like you are not allergic to chocolate, are you? I would like you to taste right now, and I'm going to open one with you.
Oh, I love it. Well, thank you so much, and thank you for speaking with me today, and I hope someone out there learned something a little bit more about yourself and all of your experiences, and they can take this and take it for them on their travels to wherever in the world of finance, or on a study abroad. So thank you.